Aloha. I'm Coach Morgan Hoffman, head coach of Playtri, the official triathlon store of Ironman, and I am here today with Kona triathlete Matt Hanson. Thank you for joining me
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Absolutely. So Matt, you actually come from an interesting background that you were actually teaching human performance before you were doing it here.
Yeah, exactly. If you had asked me 5 years ago if this is where my life would have been, it definitely would have. I wouldn't have believed you. I was teaching at the University, University, a small Division III university in Storm Lake, Iowa, and I was teaching there, doing this as like a moonlight hobby, and started winning a couple races. And after I won Ironman Texas the first time in 2015, I decided to make this my full-time go, and walked away from the university 6 months away from tenure, and I've been chasing a dream ever since.
That's fantastic. And I assume you see a lot of what you used to teach become very useful as an athlete, yeah?
Yeah, that's the best part of it. Like, I didn't waste 8 years of education, right?
You are literally living what you know.
Yeah, and most of the time that's really good. Sometimes it's it gets in the, you start thinking too much,
mental,
so right now, I've got two coaches that I trust completely. I've been with Coach Dibbins and Matt Bottrell for a couple years now, and so when it comes to my training, I try to shut that side of the brain off, and my job as an athlete is to just execute.
Absolutely.
I have a coaching business as well, and so my job as a coach is very different. Like, you've got to earn the trust as a coach, but then once you have the trust, then it's like you just want the athletes to execute and learn as much as they can, and help them with all the nutrition side, and everything that I've learned both through the formal education and through the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's no textbooks written about how to properly fuel in Kona.
Oh my gracious, no. And if there are, there's lots of exceptions.
Yes, yes.
So how long have you been riding Kona?
I've been riding Kona since 2015.
Why Kona?
So many reasons. The first is they've been like a family to me. They treat me very well. Their bikes are always very fast. I get to be, they ask for my input, and hey, how do you want this function? This is what we've got going on next. Like, what, where do you want? And that's a lot of fun for me to be a part of. I love the team. If you ever go to Chattanooga, go and take a tour of their facility. Just watching them make the Lightspeed bikes by hand, you can see the passion that they have. All that aside, it's a fast bike. I've taken it into the tunnel. I've been on the velodrome twice doing testing, and I would put my drag versus any other professional triathlete on any other bike, and I think I would come out on top. So,
which model are you on right now?
I'm on the PR6 disc. I just got the matte red and black paint version, so got that one a couple weeks ago to roll out for Kona this year. And I've always been a red guy. Who knows what'll be on next year, or what color I'll go with. They keep on coming out with new colors, and
I know they do.
Can I give up the red, or I kind of transitioned to I transitioned to blue a little bit for my race kit for Kona this year, just to test the waters. Maybe I'll
see how you feel about it.
Yeah, see how how it works on social media as well.
Is there anything about the PR6 specifically that you just are really in love with?
A couple things. First is how you need 3 wrenches. I'm living in Storm Lake, Iowa. I don't have a mechanic there. I do 100% of my bike builds myself. So I get a frame and I build it up completely, and I need a 3, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. The 3 is just for the bottle cages, so it's really only 3 rings. The 4, 5, and 6 to build it up completely, and there's no other bike that's that simple. Traveling with it is super easy because of that as well. That it's light, it's aero. The list goes on.
Logistics are huge.
Yeah,
I mean, not having to stress about that while you travel. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I get frantic messages from my athletes that aren't on the QR frequently, like, "Oh, I have no idea how to take the heads or take the forethought or take." Or even I find it. I can't get it into a travel box myself. I have to pay $200 to have somebody else ship it for me.
It's not cheap if you don't know. No, absolutely. So what would have been some highlights of the 2019 season for you?
2019 was a pretty good year. I had a couple podiums early on. I didn't didn't get the three-peat in Texas that I was going after, unfortunately, but I was able to bounce back well and set the course record at Ironman Boulder.
That's a little bit of a bounce back.
Yeah, and that was June, and then at Traverse City, I was able to win the inaugural race there, the 70.3 in Michigan.
Yeah.
So, a couple wins, couple podiums, couple of the races that didn't go well. I was still in the top 5, so the consistency was what I was most happy with this year. I've had some really good races in the past, but really, when I would have a bad day, I wasn't, it was a much worse day than my bad days now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
No, that's huge. I mean, knowing that you're going to go out there and kind of no matter what happens, that you are in the race.
That's being in the mix.
Absolutely.
Yeah, being a factor.
Goals for Saturday?
Just execute. That's my only goal. I do best when I throw time stuff. I have process goals, not outcome goals.
Any process goals you're willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, swim is just get on the right people's feet. I've got a couple targets there, and then it's really hard to have a specific game plan for the bike here because it depends on the wind and it depends on how the swim plays out.
Absolutely.
And this race is like no other in the pro field. It's definitely a tactical game.
Yeah.
It's not engine versus engine, unfortunately.
Right.
I think if they would have changed the draft rules to 20 meters instead of 12, it would be a much different outcome. But you just play the game that within the rules that there are, and just play the cards the best way you can. It's a long game of poker.
For everyone else who's racing on Saturday, any tips for the course?
Yeah, be patient.
Yeah.
Patience. I mean, you're gonna come out of the water feeling great. You'll have a tailwind on the way out, probably. Yeah. That's the time where you really have to be right when you get up to the Queen K, you've got to be really, really careful there.
Yeah.
That might be a time to hold back a little bit because you're going to be coming back into a nasty headwind, and you've got to be able to lay the power through that wind. So patience early on in the race. It's a long day. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than your qualifying race, so and a little bit hotter. So stay cool. Go slow through the stations, get a bottle on you, and then refill the bottles that you have, but always dump some cold water on you.
Yeah, good tips. All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you.
Much appreciated. And for those of you listening back home, aloha, and thanks for joining us.
Ciao.